The mere presence of a smartphone can reduce cognitive capacity. Studies have shown that even having a smartphone within reach can reduce cognitive capacity, including attention and working memory. This is likely because smartphones are designed to be highly distracting, and people often find it difficult to resist the urge to check them, even when they are not using them. People often feel happier after spending money on experiences rather than material possessions. Research has found that people tend to feel more satisfied and happy when they spend money on experiences, such as travel or concerts, rather than material possessions, such as clothes or gadgets. This is likely because experiences provide more opportunities for social connection and the creation of lasting memories. The placebo effect can be just as effective as actual medication. The placebo effect refers to the phenomenon where people experience a benefit from a treatment that has no active ingredient. Studies have shown that placebos can be just as effective as actual medication in treating certain conditions, such as pain and depression. The mere act of smiling can improve mood. Studies have shown that the simple act of smiling can improve mood, reduce stress, and even lower heart rate. This is likely because smiling is associated with positive emotions and can also trigger the release of feel-good chemicals in the brain. Our brains process negative experiences more thoroughly than positive ones. Research has found that the brain processes negative experiences more thoroughly than positive ones. This is likely because negative experiences are more likely to be associated with potential threats, and so the brain needs to process them more carefully in order to protect us. The fresh start effect causes people to feel more motivated at the beginning of new time periods. The fresh start effect is the phenomenon where people feel more motivated to make changes and set goals at the beginning of new time periods, such as the start of a new year or a new month. This is likely because these time periods provide a sense of a clean slate, and people feel more motivated to make changes when they perceive that the past is behind them. Social rejection activates the same pain centers in the brain as physical pain. Research has found that social rejection activates the same pain centers in the brain as physical pain. This is likely because social rejection is perceived as a threat to our survival, and the brain responds to it in the same way it would respond to a physical injury. Positive affirmations can be effective in improving self-esteem, but only if they are realistic and specific. Positive affirmations are statements designed to boost self-esteem and confidence. However, research has found that they are only effective if they are realistic and specific. Affirmations that are too general or unrealistic can actually have the opposite effect. The Forer effect causes people to believe that general personality descriptions apply specifically to them. The Forer effect refers to the phenomenon where people believe that general personality descriptions apply specifically to them, even when they are not accurate. This is likely because people want to see themselves in a positive light, and are more likely to accept descriptions that are flattering. The bystander effect causes people to be less likely to offer help in an emergency when others are present. The bystander effect refers to the phenomenon where people are less likely to offer help in an emergency when others are present. This is likely because people feel less responsible and less accountable when they are part of a group, and are more likely to assume that someone else will take action. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where we assume that attractive people are also more intelligent and competent. This bias is based on the idea that people perceive attractive individuals as having positive attributes, such as intelligence and competence, and therefore perceive them as more favorable than unattractive individuals. This bias is evident in many aspects of life, including the workplace, where attractive individuals may be more likely to be hired, promoted, or given more favorable evaluations. Furthermore, studies have shown that people are more likely to perceive attractive individuals as being more competent and intelligent, even when their qualifications and abilities are the same as those of unattractive individuals. The halo effect can be attributed to the unconsciousness of this bias, which is why it is important to be aware of it and to make conscious effort to avoid it. The confirmation bias is a cognitive bias where people tend to seek out and interpret information that confirms their pre-existing beliefs. This bias can manifest in a number of ways, such as selectively paying attention to information that supports one's beliefs, interpreting ambiguous information in a way that confirms one's beliefs, and discounting or disregarding information that contradicts one's beliefs. Confirmation bias can be a barrier to critical thinking and can lead to a reinforcement of errors in judgment. The self-fulfilling prophecy is a phenomenon where people's expectations influence their own behavior, leading those expectations to come true. This can happen in various situations, such as in the classroom where a teacher's expectations of a student can influence the student's performance, or in the workplace where an employee's performance can be affected by their manager's expectations. It can also happen in social interactions, where a person's expectations of others can influence how they treat them, and in turn, how the other person behaves. The Pygmalion effect is a phenomenon where high expectations for a person lead to improved performance in that person. This effect is often seen in the workplace, where employees who are expected to perform well tend to do so. The Pygmalion effect is also commonly observed in educational settings, where students who are expected to perform well tend to do so. This phenomenon is often attributed to the influence of expectations on motivation and self-fulfilling prophecy. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias where people are more likely to continue investing in something because they have already invested a lot of time, money, or effort into it. This bias is often seen in business, where companies may continue to invest in a failing project or product because they have already invested so much into it. This bias can also be seen in personal decision-making, where people may continue to invest in a relationship or a project, even when it is not working out, because they have already invested so much time and effort into it. The sunk cost fallacy is based on the idea that people feel that they have to justify their past decisions, and that leads to irrational decision-making in the present.